Brings up our in focus tonight, which is hashtag Mande Bharat mission. And to talk about it, we have joining us Dr. Mohan Kumar. He's a former senior diplomat. Good evening to you, Dr. Mohan Kumar. And also, we have with us Kanchan, Prasad, our correspondent in Dubai. Kanchan, first to you, we just wanted to find out, how is it working there in the UAE, because a lot of, in fact, perhaps a large proportion of these 14,800 that will be brought over back home are from that country. So how is it working on the ground over there?
A large number, I mean almost 1/3 of the evacuees will be from the Gulf countries and a large number from the UAE. So in the UAE, both the embassy and the consulate officials are absolutely geared up, and at the Dubai consulate, the entire auditorium has been converted into an operation room where almost 30 people are working kind of round the clock almost, with the help of the voluntary workers and the help of the Indian Association who are in UAE. So they are giving assistance to the embassy and the consulate officials. And now they are trying to get in touch with the people who had earlier registered on the e-portal. People, and of course, these people have been kind of categorized as to who needs to go first. So people, workers, especially who are in distress, pregnant women, elderly people, people needing urgent medical attention. I mean, those are the kind of people we are actually looking at. The consulate and the embassy is looking at to send them back first, and also those people who visited the UAE on a tourist visa or a visit visa, as they call it here, and they got stuck here and now they wish to go back. So these are the people that are being kind of approached on the phone, and almost 4,500 calls they have made on the very first day. So once they approve, once they say yes, they are interested, then a formal mail is sent, and they are told to collect the tickets from the Air India offices. So that's how it is going to is working now. And of course, tomorrow is another day to go. So so far, so much.
So, in terms of the overall number of people trying to get back home and those who will get to go, clearly there will be in the first phase a huge difference. So, I'm sure a lot of people will be waiting anxiously to hear from the embassy as well as the consulate. So, how's this being worked out in terms of is the entire the community being communicated with that if they don't get a call up in the first phase, they should be patient and hold their horses and not get too anxious?
Absolutely, absolutely, Gautam. That way, both the embassy and the consulate are very, very aware of this, and all social media platforms and all formal and informal channels of communications are being used to tell people that, all right, this is not the last. I mean, but whoever has to go first, we need to speak that out. And they have been very, very open about it, and they have communicated it time and again through various methods based on social media and the Indian community organizations, the main leaders who are interacting with day-to-day people. So everybody has been told, and they have been made to understand. Of course, there will be people who feel that, okay, why I wasn't not there or someone else was not there. But you have to set up some criteria as to decide who will go and who will not go. And these are the clear criteria which the consulate and the embassy has decided.
Right. Just Kanchan, stay with me, because if I were to ask Dr. Mohan Kumar in terms of how does he see this particular mission, India has done it in the past as well, but the scale would be unprecedented, and even in the beginning itself, in the first phase itself, it's quite huge. 64 flights, so many, a dozen countries and a larger number of cities in the nation itself, in India itself, and a week of a time of a week, and then a lot of other things involved that have not been done with a mission of this scale before, quarantining people, scanning them. So this is a very, very challenging mission, isn't it, Dr. Kumar?
Absolutely. I think this is a mammoth exercise, as you say. When I was ambassador in Bahrain in 2011, we had the Arab Spring, so we made an evacuation plan at that time. But two things have changed since 2011. One, the number of Indian passport holders in these 6 Gulf countries is at least 6 million, and I suspect it is 7 million. We don't have an exact fix on the number. So we have 7 million Indian passport holders. That's one. The
Yes.
second, as you rightly say, these are not normal circumstances. So we are doing it under the threat of coronavirus, and that makes it very, very complicated. I had the chance to tell one of your colleagues earlier on that the Gulf is a very, very special place.
Excuse me.
Most Indians would not have their passports with them. So evacuation from the United States and London is relatively straightforward. In the Gulf, you need to hold their hand. There has to be a hand holding exercise. And our missions, our diplomatic missions and consulates in the Gulf are not very big. So
Okay.
actually, diplomats have to work 24/7 just to make sure that the people who are most vulnerable, I'm not so concerned about the tourists and the others. Obviously, they will have to be brought back home at some point. But if you lose your job in the Gulf and you're making $300 a month or $200 a month, and if you haven't been paid for a month, you're desperate to go back to Kerala. And that is the kind of category of people that I am most concerned about. And they are the ones who will, I think, get the first preference so that they can be flown back to Kerala. And then, as you rightly said in your opening remarks, the state government will then have to take over, because the state government has an onerous responsibility to make sure they are received, reintegrated, if necessary, give them some assistance and so on. So it is a mammoth exercise, especially the evacuation from the Gulf countries.
Certainly. Kanchan, these factors, are they all being kept in consideration in terms of, not just, like you said, the health condition, but people who might be suffering the economic consequences as well of this pandemic? Are they going to be considered in terms of getting some sort of priority as well, those who are in a really bad shape?
Absolutely, Gautam. The first thing that I said, that distressed blue-collared workers are the first ones. In fact, even PM Modi said that they are the ones we have to look at them. But apart from that, those who needed medical conditions, aged elderly people, pregnant women, as I said. But what I want to tell you about this, Gautam, is that at the moment, data mining is in process and all arrangements are being made. But this evacuation is particularly very, very complex because it is being done on compelling grounds. And there is a global pandemic the world over. And even in this evacuation, we need to take care that people who are found at least asymptomatic, or at least on the face of it, they are found fit, only they are allowed to travel. So a very, very elaborate arrangement is also being made by the embassy and the consulate officials at the airport. So when these people who are shortlisted, when they reach the airport, there is an intense screening process also, medical screening process, which will go on. And besides just the temperature check, there is a special rapid antibodies test which all the passengers will need to take, which is called the IgG and the IMG test. And these will be done with the help of the Dubai health authorities. And after that, when they clear it, then only the people will be allowed to board. And when they board, they will be given a special kit containing masks, gloves, sanitizers, and the other standard operating procedures which the government of India has set and the Ministry of Civil Aviation has set. Those will have to follow once they board the flight. Apart from that, all the people who are the evacuees have to sign a particular form stating that once they reach there, they have to follow the quarantine procedure. That's most important.
Yes, that is a very, very critical aspect of this, because the success of the entire mission depends on how successfully this first phase is conducted. Dr. Kumar, do you feel that these people who will get a chance to get back home have this sort of a cross to bear as well, that they have to be extra careful and responsible, being given that opportunity to get back home, that they ensure that they follow the SOPs, especially all the safety and social distancing aspects?
Absolutely. I think the situation is such that it will be a real complication if a state like Kerala, which is doing so well against coronavirus and has made tremendous progress, I'm sure the state government is extremely acutely aware of this. You don't want that record to be sullied because of a few people or a few 100,000 people coming from the Gulf, and then again a second wave of pandemic. That is not what you want. So I quite agree with you, not just asymptomatic at the time of departure. I am more particular about how they will be treated when they come to India. I think quarantine is absolutely a must, and even after that period of quarantine, you need to have contact tracing. That's what we are discovering now. Even 14 days may not be enough. So a lot of work will have to be done also by this particular cell in the Kerala government called the Non-Resident Keralite Cell, NORCA. They will also have to do a lot of work once these people arrive in Kerala. So you're quite right. I don't think you just can't assume the whole thing is over just because you put them on a plane in Dubai. You really have to follow that through and go on to make sure that they're all fine within 1-2 months, because at some point of time, I'm pretty sure they will also want to return to the Gulf once the economy starts rebounding and so on. So
Yes.
it's very important that we keep track of these people.
Great. I hope that things go well, both at the end of where the journey begins in those 12 countries, and of course back home when people land. We are all waiting their return because we do know that we can provide them with a lot of help here as and when they arrive. Initially, it might be tough because of the 14-day quarantine, but then after that, they will ultimately be home. Thanks a lot for joining us in the meantime, both of you.